Hi guys, I'm David Dispinat with Media Unlocked, and we have been working our way through the Canon 6D Mark II walkthrough, so you don't need your manual anymore. We're down to our fourth and final video, finally guys. Those of you who have made it here are pretty dedicated to learning their camera. We appreciate you doing that and sticking along with us. So let's dive right into our video functions. Of course, the very first thing we want to do is go on and hit this little dial right here, and we want to move to the red function, which is our little camera picture here, and we're able to actually shoot video. Again, we can hit info if we want information to pop up here, just like we do with the photography settings. We can also hit Q and go in and change those and use our touch screen, but we're not going to go through all that because we'll actually go through the menu system here in a second, and we'll be able to make all those changes in the menu, or you can make them out here if need be. Again, if you're shooting video, you are able to point on the screen and it will focus for you. I believe the autofocus is turned off on this lens at the moment, so it's not going to do any focusing. Moving on to the menu system, and we're not going to go through all of the menus, we're just going to go through the red camera menu, which is there's 5 little menus here, and some of those are going to be very similar to what we did when we went over the photography menus in part 2. So movie record size, we have a bunch of different options for record size. I always shoot in 23.96 or pretty much 24 frames per second right here, and it gives you that information. And you have your Fine HD, you have your HD. You've got FHD, which is your Fine HD, your HD. The FHD is going to be the higher quality, so I always pick the FHD, which is, I believe, stands for Fine HD. And then you have the option to shoot at 60 frames per second or at 720. And then we can go in. So you can go to a smaller quality 1080p or 720p and get more footage on your card, but it's not as high quality. I always go for the higher quality option. Image quality, again, always set to RAW. Sound recording, we can go in, we can connect a mic if we wanted to. We could do auto or manual or disable. So if we want to manually do it, I could go in here and then I could set, and I could figure out as I talk. If you guys can see, I'm going to bring it way up. And now I am peaking because we're getting red and yellow. We want to stay right where, and let me just go back. And right here is about where we want to be set when we're capturing audio. Now, if we've got a mic plugged in, we're going to want to go in and manually set that mic according to the audio or voice coming through that mic so that it captures the best possible audio. Again, we use an external recording device because the audio is so much cleaner that way, and then we sync it up in post. We can move down to the wind filter here, and we got that set to auto, or you can disable it. If you've got wind, you might want to leave it on audio. That might help on auto. That might help with the wind coming through. And then we had auto tuner right here, and we have that enabled. Going back, lens aberration correction. Again, we have that set to, the biggest thing is that chromatic aberration. We want to have that set to on so that the video looks as clean as possible. Lens electronic manual focus. Again, we went over that in part 2 of all of the videos. For photography, it works the same way for video. ISO speed settings. Again, we went over all those ISO speed settings and how they work in part 2, but pretty much you can go in and set your minimum and maximum ISO. Auto light optimizer. We always leave this off because it's pretty much the camera goes in and tries to do stuff manually in the camera or automatically in the camera and alter your image, making it less raw, and of course we don't want that. So we always leave that off. Again, if you guys haven't watched part 2, I'd go back and watch part 2. We dive into that a little bit closer. Of course, we have our white balance option, our custom white balance, and our white balance correction here. We went over all those again in part 2. Same exact thing for video, doesn't change whatsoever. Picture style, again, standard. When we're shooting video, I really like to shoot neutral, giving me the most neutral colors, and then I add the colors back in post when I'm editing on Adobe Premiere. High ISO NR and highlight tone priority. Again, we leave those off because the camera is trying to alter the video or the image, and we want to be able to do that manually in the post in editing. Movie Servo Autofocus. So we can enable that or disable it. Using an external microphone will reduce the amount of lens drive noise recorded. So I'm going to have that disabled because that is mainly what that does is it's going to help with focusing, and the servo can be quite loud. And if you've just got a microphone mounted on the top, you're going to capture that, and you probably don't want to. So again, I manually do all my focusing to this day still. We're just not there yet to let the camera help with the autofocus tracking. This will track a face. This is a zone, and then this is a live 1-point autofocus. So if you want to set it to a zone, you can do that, and it will focus within that zone. Metering timer, set to 8 seconds. Grid display, if you need a grid display, you can go on and turn on a grid display if you want, and you'll have a grid display, as you can see here. Button function, so you have some couple different options, half press, and you can go in and set those functions as needed. Going down to our last one, video Snapchat, disable that, but if you want to do little tiny video Snapchats of a couple seconds, you have our Snapshot. I don't know why I said Snapchat, but video Snapshot, if you want to snap a few seconds of the video, you could do that. I just would pull that out in post. If I wanted to pull out a few seconds, I would just pull it out in post. But if you want something that goes right into the card that's only a couple seconds long, then there's some value there for you. Time-Lapse Movie, you do have the option to go in and set up a time-lapse movie. We would go into enable, and we could do that at 4K if we wanted to. And then you could go set up all that information and actually capture time-lapse. It's kind of cool. We're going to disable that now. All right, go back to menu, movie digital IS, image stabilization. Again, you can enable that or enhance it. I just leave that disabled. And then, of course, your remote control, if you want to enable remote control, you do have that option as well. And that pretty much concludes the video section of the 6D Mark II. There isn't a lot to go over. It's pretty quick. And as always, guys, if you have any questions, leave comments, send us a message at mediaunlocked101@gmail.com. Again, it is mediaunlocked101@gmail.com, or leave a comment down below. And we'll always do our best to answer any questions you might have. Thanks for stopping in, and we'll catch you guys next time. Well, if you guys have made it this far, one thing I should mention is there is a little card button. If you scroll back a little bit, you can hit the little card button, and it will pop out and will show all 4 videos. So if you wanted to watch 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on which video you're on, then you can go watch that video. Thanks for stopping in and making it this far, though. Over here to the right will be our newest video, which might be one of these videos themselves at the time. Down here diagonally, we are going to put a link to the 6D Mark II that will send you over to B&H. If you are interested in purchasing it, it does give us a little commission. And as always, guys, come on, you made it this far. This has been quite helpful. Go on and hit that subscribe button. It helps us out. And as always, guys, we'll catch you next time.